or privacy, all in different, maybe different formats. But what we thought, or when we were discussing with various industry folks, what we found is that there are a lot of confusion around the information available. It's in fact information overload, and very few are still confident actually to implement some of these learnings in the organization and bring value. While certifications are important, you know that the organization is looking for whether you can implement and use this knowledge to bring the real security value to the organization. So that is where we thought that we will bring a program combining together some of the old concept, especially in Infosec area, but some of the new concepts which are becoming mandatory. And data privacy is one of such. As you are aware, the new law is been getting approved. So this program is very, very meticulously curated, bringing together some of the best. And why this is much more interesting and exciting, because you have some of the best in the industry who will handhold you throughout this program. We are so excited today to welcome Manoj. Manoj Sharma is the founder and managing director of Cybernous Infosec Consulting. He has been an amazing and very famous entrepreneur come passionate trainer on CISSP, because he has seen how people struggle to understand and get the certifications, and he has taken it on himself. I can see the kind of passion that he brings in, taken up himself as to set up an organization who focuses on helping people to learn the best form and best way, so that he in fact goes to extreme customization and helps people to maybe reach their dream of clearing CISSP. And thank you so much, Manoj, for joining today. And I think he's on a travel, but we are so glad that he is here today. Sridhar Govardhan, one of our very, very,
Thanks. Hi, everyone.
Hi, Manoj. Sridhar Govardhan is one of our favorite mentor at REVA Academy for Corporate Excellence, that he has been with us designing and delivering these programs for working professionals. Sridhar has been with cybersecurity for the past 2+ decades and has been known as a veteran, have seen various ups and downs of this industry itself. Multiple people consider him as life-changing mentor. Many jobs and careers have been mentored by Sridhar. We are so glad Sridhar would be part of this webinar and would guide you through some of the critical aspect of this program, how it is designed and how we are different from other programs. Sandeep Vijayaraghavan is our hi Sridhar. I think.
Thank you.
Because I am on this mode that I can't really see others, so please pardon me. Sandeep Vijayaraghavan has been a great support and is our chief mentor in cybersecurity and cloud security programs at REVA Academy for Corporate Excellence in REVA University. He has been with multiple companies, top consulting firms, currently runs a lot of MSSP programs for Terralogic. He's the executive vice president there. Again, very, very passionate, gives a lot of time to educating the community of cybersecurity, because that is the need. And Sandeep joins us today. Thank you so much, Sandeep.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening. So today's webinar, we would have Sridhar, Manoj, and Sandeep addressing you, but please do note that we will have Dr. Ram Kumar is, I'm sure a lot of you are following him. He is one of the very famous voice in LinkedIn and great support. He's a mentor again, and an expert in infosecurity as well as cybersecurity as a whole. And so Dr. Ram also will be joining in this program, may not be in this webinar, but he would be part of the program delivery. Dr. Paras is part of our mentors in REVA Academy for Corporate Excellence at REVA University. He's also been very, very, very hands-on, and especially on the forensic side of it, or GRC policy side of it, and he is also joining us in this program. And I would be there for any kind of support that you need while we are curating this program. There are a lot of things that which we have kind of taken care. So this program, and we are so glad today to introduce this program. We call it as a 3-in-1 program. It's going to be an advanced diploma in cybersecurity and data privacy. It has 3 parts mainly, as we mentioned. A dedicated, very well curated, very in-depth understanding of CISSP leading to the exam. But say some of them may not be eligible, or they don't want to take up CISSP. So that is why we get this advanced diploma program as well as from REVA University, one of the top premier private universities in India. And so our certification also can be produced in case that you are not eligible to apply for an exam. And Manoj will be discussing about it. So CISSP, since it's very deep. You know that there are 8 domains and it's the gold standard. You require a lot of hand-holding, a lot of help, because the questions and all that going to be very confusing. Again, Manoj will talk about it. So we have dedicated in this program about 11 weekends, 11 Saturdays, with compounding around 88 plus hours that this is going to be focused on. Along with that, while CISSP, we know that there are a lot of theories that you have to digest, but ISO comes very close to that, because we are going to put controls, and most of the time we don't have the confidence on implementing the controls. So that is why Infosec and controls comes part of it, ISO 27001. A few of the controls, we will create a simulated environment where we will help you to show how to implement in a real environment. And that is one of the core part of it. Plus, we are so excited that data privacy is also input, because everything is interlinked if you really see, right? But we may have to go deeper, especially in because of the law, etc. And we will also try to configure in one of the cloud provider, Azure, as part of this. So typically this program in a nutshell is a little longer because it's an advanced diploma program. Sessions are planned on Saturdays, but we also would plan because of the working professionals, evening program. Plus, the whole program would come around 150 hours of live training. It is not recorded videos, and these are not recorded videos. These are live training where you can stop us, you can ask questions, you can get customized support. And these expert trainers would help you actually to with your not just on the program but on life itself, right? Plus, you will have an access to a lot of resources. We have our own LMS. Cybernous is a partner, which is co-founded by Manoj Sharma. The LMS is very well curated from Cybernous as well, plus Azure account, plus a lot of things that you would get support to, including the kind of Q&A, more questions, etc. Right? So with that, I think I will request Manoj to talk about the first part, which is the most critical part of it, the part 1, so it is CISSP toolkit, and I think this is a proprietary word that Cybernous team uses, because it is not just plain vanilla CISSP program. It comes with a bundled package of goodies. So request Manoj to take over and discuss about the CISSP part of it.
Thanks, Shinu ma'am. Hey everyone. So I'm super excited to be here today, and let's talk a little bit about CISSP. I think all of you know what is the value of CISSP in today's entire cybersecurity world, and there is a reason for this, right? When it comes to CISSP, we call it as the most valuable certification in terms of your career growth and all of this. If you want to go to a leadership position in your company and all, your leadership expect you to be a CISSP, right? The basic thing behind this entire thing is there are a lot of people who are expert in cybersecurity, but they may not be understanding the entire business environment and aligning the entire cybersecurity with the, let's say, business objectives, right? That is a major problem which companies are facing. and that is where CISSP comes in very handy. So this is the certification which is more about understanding security from the core and making you as a true leader who can actually working for a particular company, right? So you will be handling risk, you will be handling various cybersecurity related stuff, and there is a lot of decision making in your role when you move on to the leadership roles, right? So that is where it is. Yeah. So as you know, CISSP is highly valuable, and this particular certification will help you prepare for it. And believe me, this certification it's the way you talk about security, is the way you go and talk to your leadership. Entire thing is gonna change, right? As part of your CISSP, right? Next slide, please. Okay, so let's try to understand what is that super special about CISSP. What is that we are going to learn in this entire CISSP? The entire cybersecurity world has been broken down into 8 different parts, and you have to wear different hats in this entire journey. So when you go to domain number 1, you are wearing a hat of a CISO. You have to think like an advisor or a CISO who's sitting on the top of your governance structure, and that is where you have to set up the entire security from scratch. So that is the mindset you are going to get. Also, you are going to think like a risk manager in this entire stuff, right? How you are going to manage risk on an ongoing basis. So that is what the focus of domain number 1. Domain number 2 talks about asset security. So this will give you a fundamental understanding of the data security, because as you all know, data is the number 1 priority, right? It's everywhere in any company, right? And it might be sitting on different assets, it might be on servers, applications being processed everywhere. So those assets also need to be secured, right? So that is what you are going to talk about in domain number 2. Domain number 3 talks about security architecture. This is the phase where you wear a hat of an architect. Domain number 4 talks about network security. You are going to learn a lot about the network security fundamental architecture principles and those kind of stuff. Going to make you an expert into identity and access management. Domain number 6, you are going to again wear a hat of an auditor, right? And this is where it's just not an auditor. If you are in the role of a tester, or you are in the role of an assessor, or as a leader who is making the assurance function for a particular company, entire thing we are going to talk about in domain number 6. Domain number 7 is more of security operations, as and when there are a lot of operations happening on security, so that all different business processes are secure. So that is also a very vital part where you are going to get. And finally, domain number 8 is where you talk about software development. We use applications on a daily basis, right? So that is where we are going to ensure how do you integrate security into the entire software development. So that is how you are going to learn in this entire CISSP curriculum. Let me tell you a little bit more. Guys, can we change the slide, please? Yeah. So now, see, everybody knows that CISSP is very vital, and this is highly respected. The challenge is the exam, right? So you need to be intelligent enough, you need to understand the structure, you need to understand how the exam happens and all of it. So this is what is the weightage of all different domains which are there. One thing you might have noticed, domain number 1, which is security, governance, and risk management, is highest rated. So this is where you are going to get in-depth, understanding of your governance principles and those kind of stuff, and it serves as the foundation for the entire CISSP. Just wanted to show you how this thing, from an exam perspective, you need to overall score 7. At the same time, pass every domain as well. So this is an amazing journey. You are going to start with REVA, and I'm gonna help you in this entire journey. Let me talk to you a little bit about how we are going to help you in this entire thing, right? So next slide, please. Okay, what are we going to do? We are going to follow a 3-headed approach. I have been training for CISSP for the last 8 years. I am not SSP specialist. So we are going to. It's not a tandem approach. It's a three-headed approach where we will be you all will be getting an access to a LMS, very well structured LMS, and there is the entire 100 days program which is set for you. So you don't have to worry. You are a busy security professional. You are at work. If you are able to find out 1.5 hour every day, that's kind of help you in meeting your this thing. That is how the entire program has been designed, right? This entire LMS has been. Will be meeting with us on Saturdays. That is where we will be interacting more in in person, and we will be talking a lot about security concepts and the exam prep and all of it. So that's one. This particular LMS has all the structured videos. It has inbuilt notes. You don't need to go and read any other book. Everything is included in the program, and the content is more than sufficient to help you pass CISSP. I think today also one more student has passed CISSP. So every week we have 2 or 3 students just following the same plan. And we are going to follow the same approach here at REVA, and we are going to make sure that everyone is who is joining with us gets a very, very along with the you can say a great diploma you are going to get. Along with that, if you are also going to get your CISSP certification done. So this particular program also comes with an exam engine, which is also inbuilt. You are going to practice around 5,000 questions along with me. My preparation, and this is where we will be talking about theory. In the same time, I will be telling you a lot of tricks, a lot of different ways in which the questions are put up to you in the CISSP exam. We are going to practice at a level where when you go to the real CISSP exam, you feel like there's nothing special. We are already practicing these kind of questions every day. So that's the kind of stuff, guys, we are going to do in this great program. I'm very excited to have you inside the program. Okay. I think, Shinu ma'am, next slide, please.
Yeah. And there is a small lag or some break is there on the audio. That's why.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, okay. Great. So let's talk a little bit about the exam thing as well. It's a costly exam. Obviously, it's costing $749. And in India, again, you have to pay GST on top of it, right? There's something also called as peace of mind, where if you pay $199 extra, you are also going to get another chance also, just in case your first chance by any reason goes wavered, then there is a second chance as well. And this exam is a 3 hours exam, highly prestigious exam. There is no second way in which you can pass this exam other than preparing for it, understanding the things, and getting into this thing, right? So I am super excited to have you guys on board. And with that, I will hand it over to other instructors as well.
Yeah, thank you so much. And again, just to reiterate what Manoj has been talking about is he has trained hundreds of people. His programs are there in Udemy. We have seen the kind of content and the depth in which that is preparing the materials so that you can clear. So whether you are a CISSP program aspirant or not, I think the right teaching and right mentorship is going to guide you through your cybersecurity journey, right? Because 8 domains and the thorough understanding on the comprehensive, holistic view of an organizational threat, the cybersecurity landscape will give you a lot of revelation and which will help you in the career. Thank you so much. I know that there is a small lag and regret that because Manoj has been traveling. But let's move to the next part, which is the info security part of it. While CISSP talks about the very comprehensive view, most of the time these has to be again translated into very specific processes, procedures, and controls, and it has to be implemented so that the organization gets certified by either an ISO or any other certifications. And Sridhar Govardhan has been leading a lot of auditing as well as implementation of around multiple certifications, and ISO happens to be one. So this part is about 4 Saturdays or 32 hours is what we have planned, and request Sridhar to take over and explain how this program is curated, right? So this part, sure. I think we could move on because this has already been discussed, but we can look at what is getting covered.
Sure. Thank you, Shinu. And good evening. Thank you, Shinu, for getting me on board on this program. Let us step back one step at a time and then look at why Friday evening around 40 plus folks have joined this call and then wanted to understand what is that this program is all about. Before that, some statistics. What is cybersecurity today, right? By 2025, it is estimated the cybersecurity crime to reach 10.5 trillion annually, and which is factual. Around 2 weeks back, if you see, there is someone who paid in US approximately $70 million for a ransomware group. That's the money which hackers have been taking. And if you take how many data breaches happened, 1,800 data breaches reported in US alone last year, which accumulates to 200 million records. And of course, in India also same numbers, but we have lesser number of records because the volume of breach is very high in US. And the question could be that the reporting requirements is what is the difference, but it could be higher in India also. And the biggest threat for any organization today, be it small organization, large enterprise, manufacturing, ransomware. And that is where it grew from a small consumer grade attack to large enterprises. I mean, you name it, you just Google ransomware attack, last 6 months, you will see the largest brands being targeted and then they have been made to pay. And phishing attacks, 80% of the organizations, any organization you name, they have been experiencing phishing attack. And any breach, if you take, there is a start point which starts with a phishing, and that's where social engineering starts. And this is the, this is the statistics on the other side of what is happening. But if you look at the workforce, which is the defenders of cybersecurity, that 3.4 million unfulfilled jobs globally in 2023. So these positions were never fulfilled. The reason why it is not fulfilled is there are no right match of skills. There is no right sort of job description to the profile what people upload, right? There is a mismatch and people are not there. If you ask me, India itself, anyone, if you ask Manoj, if you ask Sandeep, who's there in the call, they themselves will tell, in my own organization, I have so many recs open. That is the story today. And what is that we as an organization, defenders, have a stake in it, right? 2023, the spend on cybersecurity is $200 billion. And this could be in various forms, right? We purchasing the technology, we purchasing solutions, we purchasing services from organizations, could be your big four, could be your consulting firms, and the processes. And definitely we, as an employee of organization, is also cost. So this all put together is for 200 billion. This is going to grow. I mean, in the end of this 2024-25, it will be to 250, 300 billion. And this is what the cost we are spending to protect against this $10.5 trillion who the attackers are trying to steal. Now, coming back to the actual topic, right? What is this module all about on cybersecurity and ISO 27001? See, ISO 27001 has been there for a good donkey's years now, and many organizations, large and medium, have adopted it. Now, as and when there is a breach, the industry, particular industries. For example, if you take RBI has been hammering all the fintechs and the so-called non-banking financial institutions to kind of adopt cybersecurity. You take any paper. Yesterday also there was a mandate by RBI saying that you should adopt it. They have been mandating saying that you should hire a CISO, you should have a cybersecurity team, and you should implement the best practices, which is nothing but ISO 27001 standard. Now, what is it? ISO 27001 is? It's a management system. When we say management system, any organization will implement management system, be it quality, be it security, be it environmental. A lot of management systems are there. It's nothing but a framework which will tell how the commitment of a management is converted into actions, how it is converted into policies, how it is converted into control. So that's why if you see the policy, procedures, standards, guidelines have been drafted and then aligned with the standard. Standard will say these are the set of controls, and there are 2013 version, which most organizations are certified for, and 2022 is the latest version. So it has certain set of controls and guidelines defined, and then every organization has to adhere to. This is the story of ISO 27001. What are we going to do on this module? We have borrowed this 27001 controls, and we have kind of aligned more technically what is that required to do. So that's what we will do in the module 1, where we will do a gap assessment, saying that when you are going as a professional, I'm sure many of you have already been in cybersecurity or wanted to move into this domain. So we'll have a mix and match of participants. So we'll look at how do we balance it both. And those who have already been there, they will understand what is a gap assessment. So you go understand the as is state of an organization and align with the requirements of the standard, and then say these are the gaps which have been identified. We will fix this, and there is a clear-cut roadmap being built saying that this has to be fixed, and this is what your timelines to fix it. Once you achieve that, then you are meeting the requirements of a standard. Now, second module is what we will talk about the controls. Like each and every clause of a standard will convert into a controls where you kind of implement it. For example, you say that how do you manage access control? Then you kind of define a password authentication mechanism, and then say user ID password, and there are multiple levels of authentication you will define. So this is how you convert the requirement into a control and then do it. So we'll be doing that. And also we'll look at a little bit about incident response. Today, all said and done, there are gaps in the organization, and the security, if you put it across, someone says that I will protect my organization 100%, doable, but the cost involved and the time and the effort required is huge. So that's where the balance of risk management comes. We'll talk about that also in the course. What is the right balance you should adopt between the business continuing to operate and the security risk we will take? So if there is example could be that there is a brute force attack happening, we have adequate monitoring in place, and if there is successful login, we will kind of go and log that account and then do investigation why that thing happened. Now we can take a call saying that this user ID may not even be exposed to internet, which is very difficult to do in today's world. But that's a risk balance, saying that I have the control, I have put the preventive controls, which is user ID password. I have a detective control, which is logging that account log out successful event and all. And I have a monitoring capability behind, which will alert me if there is a suspicious login. So that's how we'll build the controls, which starts from the definition of control till the monitoring and auditing and compliance. So once we have defined implemented and then sustenance phase, that's when the audit and compliance comes into picture, where you have to kind of continuously evaluate your controls are moving in the right direction. And there is technology changes, and technology change will lead to gaps in between, saying that is it still relevant, the controls what you have deployed. Example could be maybe 5 years back, user ID password alone was sufficient, and when the brute force phishing attack started, that lose its efficacy, and that's when we added the second factor authentication, third factor authentication. Now we have multi-factor authentication. So that's the beauty about auditing, saying that is it efficiently performing its job, and then are you compliant to the required standards. And also the element of regulatory requirements come in, where the regulators will impose certain controls on the organization. In India, at least, we have an RBI defining for banks and NBFCs, and SEBI defining for all the trading like Zerodha, Bro, ICISSP, Demat, all those things. And we have IRDA defining it for the insurance partner. So that's the regulatory part of it. In multiple geographies, we have different requirements like SOC 1, SOC 2 in US, HIPAA in US, PCI DSS in US. So, PCI DSS for all the payment card partners across the globe, doesn't have any bearing. And The fourth module, we're going to talk about the response. How we are going to respond if there is an incident. What are the playbooks we should have? How do you kind of mitigate it real time? I mean, when I say mitigate, you contain the incident and still operate the business in parallel, and then you bring up the systems and the processes back to a BAU. How do you manage this entire life cycle? We will have some case studies taken and then conduct a gap analysis. We will also develop policies. We'll do risk assessments. We'll take a scenario. We'll take industry and then do a risk assessment, and we'll do incident planning in that case study. So last is how do you, whatever you've designed, you have kind of curated the controls. We'll try to implement in the technologies in a cloud platform. It could be Azure or AWS, based on what is the most ask which is coming, and we will do a mini project on implementation. So this is the overall scope. Looking forward to kind of meet you all and then conduct this workshop. Shinu, am I good on time or?
Absolutely, as always on the spot. I think the biggest differentiation here is that the labs that you bring in, because we don't want to just teach you theory and leave you off, but how to confidently implement these controls, at least when we would use Azure to do some of these works, plus some of the other tools. So this is what I think is lacking in the market. And that is what Sridhar and everyone will bring.
Sure. You're right. Thanks for bringing that point, because there are so many lead implementers, ISO 27001 lead auditor, right? That's all paper based. I mean, the most, even I've gone through that. I've been done with DNV and BSA and all. But the problematic part with that is after a week, you'll forget all those things and you will not be able to relate all the controls, which is okay. You have still a copy of standard, but how do you convert that and then implement in the ground is what we will be able to teach here. Thank you, Shinu.
Thank you so much. Now the new kid in the block, right? We have so much of noise around data privacy. We have this Data Protection Act coming in, and it is becoming mandatory in terms of, again, implementation. Not to know, but also to implement. So we have Sandeep Vijayaraghavan helping us to understand the nuances of how this law, how is it going to come in India, and how forceful is enforcing this is going to be, what are the best practices being used already, and how difficult or easy it is to implement, because personal data is everywhere. So request Sandeep to help us understand how this program is being curated to manage this part of it, which is generally very new concept. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you, Shinu and Sridhar. Manoj, just before I take up this topic, I would just like to give you an understanding on the construct of the three concepts that we have brought in together, right? CISSP, as you understood from Manoj, typically all the domains, very elaborate is what we would be covering, including the implementation aspect of it. And then what Sridhar mentioned about the ISO and implementation of ISMS framework, that is also going to be very extensively covered. Now, in both of these cases, you would see that what we are looking at is a corporate data, right? And you already understand, I mean, I believe most of you are either from the IT domains or from cybersecurity. And you do understand how important is classifying a data, right? And for an organization, how important it is to protect the data. Because today, if you see the larger breaches that has happened, and you've been hearing this on a day in and day out basis, right? There is a reputational loss. And beyond that, there is a situation where the companies do not get back to business also, right? We've seen that because if there's a ransomware that hits and the data is completely encrypted, you take a lot of time to come back, you lose data, and there are penalties. Now, as Dr. Shinu mentioned, we're already, gripping with one data protection concept and challenges, and we have something related to a personal identifiable information, right? And when I classify personal identifiable information, like at least for us here in India, these are some of the data that you share, which could be PAN card, Aadhaar, and it could be any information that could identify the information of you as an individual in the organization or as a person, right? So look at a bank. Now, as an individual, you would apply for a loan, right? You have a lot of KYC documents that you provide, or be it a school for a a student carries a lot of personal information which is there with the schools, right? When I talk about the banks, bank has a lot of information, right? How is this information used? How is it processed, right? How long is the organization going to hold it, and where and all they're going to process, right? And that's an important aspect for an individual to know, right? And when there are breaches of these data, there are laws also which is very prevalent in various countries, right? India has very recently adopted a data protection and a privacy law, right? You're already seeing the impact of it. Organizations have started implementing a data protection policy, right? And the most important aspect now that is for an organization is to identify this data, right? Identify this data and map the data. Because as you see and as you grow, you would understand your data, the places where it is hosted and it is processed. Let's say, for example, it is on the cloud. Is it within the organization, or is it at a hosted location, or a location outside of India, right? You as a user will be able to define the way the data has is being processed and handled by the organization. And say, for example, you would like to data and it no more required the organization has to have a clear process of deleting the data, right? Let's understand some of the key obligation for the data protection and the privacy law, right? If you see out here on the screen, there are certain lawful and fair and transparent processing mechanisms the organizations has to adopt, right? Purpose of holding the data, right, and storing the data, right? I wouldn't go with it, but it is all related to your personal identifiable information that you hold or the organization holds for that matter, right? Challenges discovering this information, right? Over years and years, you've seen the organizations, banks have been collecting this data and has been shared, right? I mean, shared over emails, shared through drives, right? So identifying and discovering this data, right? Localizing, holding the data within the organization, within the country, right? So that is very, very important. I'm talking of the challenges out here, right? Data subject rights, which is your rights, your rights to fulfillment. That is something which is very important also. Outsourcing, right? Like say you have a subcontractor, banks have DSAs where the data gets transferred to or data is handled by subcontractors, right? How are they holding the data? And the organization, let's say it's a XYZ bank, they are responsible where the data is kept, right? And if there's a breach, the bank is liable to pay, right? Retention, data deletions, and data purging is very, very important. And as we said, we start off by discovering where the data is and then start understanding how do you tag it, classify it, right? Consent management, these are aspects that we would require to know. So that's largely the policy and the protection framework part of it. What are we going to cover, right? Now, as Sridhar mentioned, right, there's an important role of a CISO, and as you cover with a CISSP or an ISO ISMS certification, you are closer to becoming a CISO for an organization, right? Because that is one of the benchmark organization looks for. Of course, you do have your experiences to support it, right? But if you're a CISSP and you have done implemented ISO or ISMS, right, you qualify to an extent being a CISO of the organization, right? Again, I mean, not discounting the experience that you carry along as well, right? There's a new role, right, which either is aligned to a CISO function, which or it could be an independent, that is a data privacy officer. So a data privacy officer is responsible to implement the data protection policies or for the organization, right? And typically around the privacy aspects of it. Okay, we would cover the first, of course, a lot of extract is taken from GDPR, but ideally we will cover the NEST privacy framework and the ISO framework, which is 2771 2019. So these are some of the frameworks that we will cover. Of course, for this we will cover GDPR and the DPDP law as well, right? You can look at some of the regulations out here. These are across the geographies, right? Different geographies have different policies, right? The penalty clauses are different. EU has a very stringent policy, right? That's where the GDPR comes in. USA has also adopted it, but again, from state-wise, it is the policy law, that is law, which also talks about the privacy principle. So we will take the extracts, and of course, the objective is to cover the DPDP law, which is going to be more prevalent for India, right? So that's the geographical representation of the law. So we can move to the next slide, please.
Yeah, I think that is, these are the modules again.
So these are the modules that we will extensively cover, right? One is you start off identifying and understanding the privacy law, identifying the data, right? And the process aspect of it, right? We will also cover privacy ops, right? And how to handle a breach. So breach management and response is also a module that we cover. So we will look at extensively, right, from assessment to data breach or a privacy breach assessment aspects of it. And these are going to be implemented. We will be using tools and technology, and we will drive the process. The process will be implemented on some of the tools and technologies out here. All right. Any questions? Happy to address them.
I think with that, let's come online. We would be happy to hear questions. Let me just check if questions are there. And in the meantime, let us all come down. I think there seems to be no questions. So we'll take a pause and see whether if you have questions, and we will be happy to take. So let us go back to the presentation by the time that, because we have another 10 to 15 minutes to close, and we are hoping that you have questions. So there are going to be 3 or 4 benefits as the outcome. One is that you will have a advanced diploma certification in cybersecurity and privacy management, which itself is a good gateway through great careers. And this is coming from REVA University. As I mentioned, it is one of the NAC A+ and very prestigious private university in India, and that will have its own credits. Plus, this credits, there are about 50 credits that we have allotted for this program. This 50 credits, you can show it as your continuing professional education credits, CPE credits, right? So that actually kind of creates that immunity that you get a certification. Plus, the whole program will lead you to become an CISSP expert. So that means you can write the CISSP exam. You can go and write your ISO certifications, plus anything around the privacy law which is coming in, right? So this program is specifically open to IT professionals who has great aspirations. As Sandeep and everyone said, that it is a CISO track that we are looking at. The program fee, excluding the exam voucher, is put here, both in INR as well as in dollars for the people who are attending today's webinar from international markets. And what you get at the end of it, as we told, there are about 2 LMS that you will get access to. One exclusively on CISSP from Cybernous because of the partnership that we have. Plus, RACE itself has a very dedicated LMS. So you will have enough curated, very well curated, customized materials. Plus, we are going to talk about implementation. So the labs, practical applications, virtual environment, all that is part of this program. Plus, there are multiple bundles of questions, mock questions and mock sessions that we would conduct so that you can confidently attend any of those final certification exam that you aspire to. So there are thousands of practice questions, and this toolkit that we talked about, it comes bundled with a lot of things which typically you don't get very easily in any of the programs, right? So I think I will still pause for a while to take up any questions if you have. If it is not there, can we have a yes? Okay. So Manoj, there is a question. Before CISSP certification, what are the certifications you would recommend? Because I think directly getting into CISSP versus they are taking up few earlier. I think you are on mute, Manoj, if you could unmute.
my experience. And this particular program, forget about just doing the certification, right? The kind of knowledge you are going to get through this program, it's not only CISSP, it is also you are going to be an expert into privacy, you are going to be expert into as a whole as well. So I would say, if you ask me truly, if you do not have the 5 years of experience as well, if you have something like 3 to 4 years of experience as well, you should still go for this program, because this is going to be a game changer for you, and this will give you the right mindset from a leadership perspective, how you need to progress in cybersecurity, and how you need to think like a leader. So I think that is very critical. But yeah, still, if you are just starting, you are just a fresher and you want to start with it, I think go with the certified in cybersecurity. That is a free certification provided by ISC2 as a part to it. But yeah, if you have 3 years of experience or more, a little bit more as well, I think this is going to be a wonderful program for you.
Okay, so that's yeah. I think that is very comforting. That means, irrespective of their background, you will get access to a very foundational level of understanding, and then from there you can move ahead, right? You don't need to specifically have any prerequisites which is required, right? That is the Okay, another question, that is a bachelor's degree necessary from the university program? Because it's an advanced diploma, you don't need a bachelor's degree, you can apply directly. Whereas I don't think in CISSP or anywhere, I think there is a provision, but I think it is, I think Manoj can answer that.
I think a degree is not required just for doing CISSP. Right, just in case you are looking for a waiver, let's say 1 year waiver and all, that is where we need engineering degree. But if you are already having 5 years of experience and all, I don't think degree is something which is a hurdle for you to kind of join this program.
Okay, understood. So I hope the person who asked that question, that I think the only thing what we need is a huge commitment and a great desire to learn and help yourself as well as the organization. That's all you need. Okay, and the next question which has come is that, is it physically important to be present in the university? No, this program is completely online, but live training with anywhere and everywhere you can join. Both national and international participants, you are open to join our program, and there is no physical sessions at all. It is online but live. It's not recorded session. These are live sessions. Okay. Is there any other questions? Okay. So I'm going to kind of end this part of it. We have, so this webinar is brought to you, as we mentioned, that Cybernous and REVA Academy for Corporate Excellence. Though we said that it is completely physically online, we do recommend you to come to the campus. You can see how beautiful the architecture as well as the landscape is at our campus. We have been continuously ranked as one of the cleanest and the beautiful campus by various regulatory bodies. So do come in, and it's a great experience to meet you in person as well. Along with these programs, if somebody says that, no, I have a great urge to study and further, we also have master's programs for working professionals. Our team can help you to understand. And CISSP and some of the GRC components, etc., is very much part of cybersecurity as well as cloud architecture programs. I just want to quickly introduce that. So this is the program details. I would also ask you to look at. I think some of my team members can put the link of our program here. So this program details are here. And if you have any questions, please do ask. Otherwise, you have to, because we have limited seats, we only take limited numbers because of the extreme personalization that we would bring in, maximum of 20 per batch, and a few registrations have already come in. So we would request you to go here and submit your application, right, and register for it, right? So with that, I think we are actually early on time, but if there are any one or two questions, we can still take up. Otherwise, I hope this webinar was useful and informative, and we do hope that you would keep learning, whether with us or otherwise. And I must thank Manoj and Manoj, Sridhar, and Sandeep for joining and helping all of us to understand how vast the area of cybersecurity is, and still how you can confidently crack some of these golden standards and exam certifications, plus become a CISO very, very near in future, right? So that's, I am sure that it is very, very aspirational to most of you that you become a CISO one day, and this is the right program to take, because you will get a very, very comprehensive understanding of an entire gamut of things here, right? So with that, if there are no questions, let us close this. Thanks once again. So both Manoj Sharma, Sridhar Govardhan, as well as Sandeep Vijayaraghavan, along with all our team members who have been working behind the scenes, plus all the participants who have joined today. Looking forward to your registrations. Registration link has been put, and please go there in the website and register. Okay. Thank you so much, and have a good evening. Very hope to meet you all very soon. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.